Once upon a time, there was a seed of an idea to outfit kids with shoes that grew and grew and grew and grew into the Goodie 2 Shoes Foundation. I grew up middle class. There wasn't a lot of exposure to poverty there. I'm sure it existed, but we didn't really see it. My parents weren't particularly philanthropic or volunteer oriented, so it wasn't a culture that I grew up with in our family.
Both my parents were in the union trades. We were lower middle class, struggled with 4 kids. There was a family of 6, so there were mouths to feed, and it was a bit struggling growing up. I think as a little kid, I didn't realize that as much as when I get older, what the financial situation was, but you know, but no different than most of the kids that grew up around me.
In terms of philanthropy, I guess my biggest exposure came when Tony was playing for the Chargers. That's really when we started to see, and I started to value what we had and see that, you know, lots of people live in lots of different ways and a lot of people are in need. You know, as a ball player, everybody wants you to write a check or go to a black tie gala or make an appearance at an event, but you don't actually see the impact of what you're doing. The Chargers actually have a what they call the Payless Shoe Drive, and they've been doing it for a very long time. But they bus kids to 5 Payless shoe stores on a Tuesday, which is the day that the players have off, and they get to go in and pick out whatever pair of shoes they want.
I said to Nick, I said, you really got to come to this thing. It was really kind of cool. You should see these kids. They bust all these kids to the shoe store to Payless shoes, and you know, they come off the bus and they're just all excited, and you get to hang out with them and, you know, then help them try on shoes, and they walk out like, this is the best day of my life, and it's so crazy that a pair of shoes does this for these kids, but it's so much fun. You should come check it out.
This little child came in and had long, dark brown hair and was dirty and matted and no eye contact at all, just looking down at the ground, and I got real low and I kept pulling out all these little sneakers that had little princesses on them, and I'm showing it to her and hoping I'm going to get a glimmer of something, an eye contact, a hint of a smile, something. And he looks up at me and says, "I'm a boy." That moment for me, I don't remember what he picked, I don't even remember his name, but I remember his face, and I remember, you know, the lack of eye contact and just that moment where he said, "I'm a boy." And honestly, it just changed me forever. It just touched me in a way that I had never imagined or felt, and I just realized there are so many children in every community that needed help, and I couldn't stop thinking about him. And I thought about him for years. And one day I picked up the newspaper in 2003 and read about Make a Difference Day and how ordinary people do extraordinary things in their own communities, and it's the largest day of giving back. And I said, you know what, we're gonna do that event. We're gonna do that event here in Las Vegas.
And I came home one day and she said, okay, I've arranged it. We're gonna do it with the Boys and Girls Club. We're gonna outfit 225 kids, and if we can't get our friends and family help pay for it, we're gonna pay for it ourselves. I said, "Huh?" It was the Scooby-Doo moment, you know. "Huh?"
We gathered all our friends and family and said, will you sponsor a child to participate in this program and help us pay for it? Because we were always buying our product. We never got product donated at that time. And we outfitted 225 kids, and by the end of the day, volunteers and people who owned companies were coming up and was like, this is the greatest experience. How do we do this again? How can we do more kids next year? How many kids are we gonna do? So by the end of that day, we had already committed to doing 500 kids on the next Make a Difference Day.
What we have here is about an experience for the kids. We've had multiple opportunities to just, you know, box up a bunch of shoes and give them to somebody and let's hope they fit. But that doesn't create any experience for the child. It doesn't create that moment of choice. It doesn't create that moment of aha. So if we serve 10,000 kids and let's say 5 get that moment of aha, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's more. I hope it's more. But if only 5, and those 5 happen to be the 5 that, you know, come up with a cure for cancer or the next president of the United States, you never know who we're dealing with.
The foundation has come together so much. A little over, well, almost 2 years now. It was just Riley and I working in the office, and Tony was trying to juggle a full-time job to support our family and the foundation responsibilities, and in all honesty, it was very difficult to do both. We sat down and talked, and I said, you know, where is your heart? What do you want to do?
The last couple years together, it was, you know, a big overlap of nights, weekends, all that other stuff. So we actually had multiple conversations throughout the process. It's gotten to a point where it's taken up all of our Saturdays and Sundays, all of our nights. It's affecting our children's time with us as well. Not that we don't want to be doing, but we also want to raise 2 solid citizens who, you know, give back to the community as well. So We either have to grow it or we have to make it small. And unfortunately, we're not very good at quitting, so we just kept growing.
So we pulled up our bootstraps, and he came over to the foundation full time. And once that happened, adding a staff of 3 now, Riley, myself, and Tony, it allowed us to expand so much more, and he took on a lot of the responsibilities that were challenging for us to do. And in that, we grew some relationships, and we secured supply lines, and a lot of technical aspect of what it means to supply 10,000 kids a year with new shoes and socks. What does that look like on the back end?
And it inspired me because, I experienced it as a child. And if Goodie Two Shoes, back then, I know how much it would have meant to me. So I know that how much it can mean to these kids.
I think one of my favorite moments, and it was one of our first years here at Goodie Two Shoes as an event. This little girl comes out of Payless Shoes. She's got a shirt on that's about 7 sizes too big, because that was the t-shirt she got that fit her, and she was about, 5 or 6 years old. And she gets her backpacks, and she has her shoes and the school supplies, and she looks up and said, "This is the best day of my life." And I thought, that was when I was, had to take that moment to compose myself.
You can be having the worst day because you just spilled coffee on your lap, or your car broke down, or what have you, but when you're dealing with kids who don't go to school because they don't have shoes, it's very humbling. And it would be very difficult to come home to my family and to this house and to be like, you know what, life stinks. It doesn't. Life is great.
Ready? Get ready to jump. Jump! Good job! Give 5 slides around. Woo!
I think their leadership is huge, especially in the nonprofit sector. I mean, we reach 10,000 kids every single year.
We provide a necessary daily item, but more than that, I wanted that environment, that choice, that experience for those children. I think kids deserve it. I think we do it because kids deserve it. I think kids who don't have choice in their life and kids who don't have that deserve that moment in the day. They deserve it, even if it's 1 day a year.
To see that we're the real deal now. We're not working out of my house in 9 storage units anymore. We have a facility and we have a warehouse, and we're continuing to grow. We're continuing to learn more about our community and the needs, and really honing how we do it, and just trying to do the best we can. So in terms of happiness, am I happy? I think what we do is pretty awesome.
It's absolutely amazing that people care enough about children to bring in backpacks and shoes and take time to see a child smile.
I think anybody that takes the time and the effort and the interest to give back, they're just doing it because it makes them feel good. And that's the bottom line, is I feel good about what we do.
The first kid I ever helped fit for shoes told me that the shoes are supposed to fit where your toes are crunched up. And I think that just kind of broke my heart.
I love doing it because like I said, I love seeing the kids jumping up and down and yell my name and be excited. I had a kid so excited before he got his stuff. He was in line jumping up and down. I'm so excited, I can't wait. He was almost in tears.
People will look back and be, they outfitted this many kids. I don't know what that number will be. Maybe it will be 50,000, maybe it will be 100,000, maybe it will be 1 million. I don't know. But I hope that the Goodie Two Shoes Foundation is the legacy of Tony and I, and how we cared about this community and we cared about its children.
They're not just changing their little feet. These kids become inspired, they do well in school, they go off to college, and their whole life has changed, their income, their adulthood, and it impacts their children that they will have. So it's not just immediate, it is the long term. 20 years from now, we're gonna have kids that say, I remember you did this, I want to bring it forward, and because someone has done it for me.
D, Tony.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
How's it going? What's your name?
Evelyn.
Evelyn, how are you?
Alan.
Alan, how are you?
Good.
Be a good student in all class, exactly. Good job. Let me say, that's a very good. Be fine. Knuckles, you gonna blow it up? I just think I think kids should have those moments. I think the kids should be able to say that this is the best day of my life every day. I'm a softie for kids.
We love what we do. We love each other. I mean, we're, best friends and husband and wife. We love being part of this community, and we love going to those distributions. That very first child that steps up and that big smile and it's just a pair of shoes. But that pair of shoes means so much more, and that's what drives us.